would address any future parks anywhere on that general plan.
So then those parks would be in stone, basically?
Well, no, not, I mean, the general plan map is, as it states, general. I mean, we want something in that area, but it doesn't mean it's got to be on Ryan's
not
property.
that piece of property, just in the general area.
You know, I agree, Danny, that we want to stay away from being arbitrary, but part of our job is to decide what's best for the public in that area.
Right.
And other areas, so there's kind of a give and take.
I understand that, and I think, you know, I don't want to say anything, because I wasn't in the chairs when the decisions were made in the past, but I do believe, just from what I understand now, and if I were there at the time, maybe I made a different decision. But the way I look at it today is, I believe that we've given too much bonus density and not gotten enough in return for a lot of past decisions because of the flexibility and arbitrary nature of bonus density in the past. And I'm afraid of opening or putting Pandora's box back into the code. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, any other thoughts?
I think there's a need at some point to have some flexibility if it's for the good of the public.
There were needs that might be higher priority.
You know, I think it's a balancing act of what's the best interest of the public. And take away the opportunity for Pandora's box, or we need to leave the flexibility in there for the council to make the best decision.
I mean, whenever you get a public facility that's going to cost anywhere from $4 to $6 million without having to bond or tax for it is a benefit.
Yeah, if you can guarantee that that's the only use it will ever be for, that it doesn't become energy efficient light bulbs and what zero.
No, I think that's
you know what I'm saying? It's the arbitrary nature I'm afraid of.
Yeah, I think that's what we want to get away from.
Can we put it in the code that it is only for master plan improvements, things that we have adopted, that we only have 3-4 locations, we're going to even entertain this idea?
That's the direction Doug to go back.
I agree. I think Doug's on, that's the road you're going down, right?
Yeah, it is.
Brian, did you have one more?
Well, just along Spencer's lines there, if you have criterion that can become very specific enough that you take the subjectivity out of them, that you can judge them against, you know, where do they fit inside of the master plan. Now, that even, in some respects, is arbitrary. Well, why did this get this? Why did that circle get it? And why did this get it right there? Why did this get it right there? So
We have darts in the back.
yeah. So you're never going to get away out of that completely. But when you start looking at the criteria that might grant a density bonus, trying to make sure and craft those criterion so that they are completely objective makes it really easy then for a council and a future council to come back and judge the value on, is it worth it or is it not worth it? If you met these criteria, great.
Yeah.
If you didn't, then no, sorry, there's nothing, you know, then we're not arbitrary.
The criteria can be specific enough, and I like what Spencer suggested.
So that's a question I've got, the criteria. So we have said our criteria is 10 acres. So that's a pretty big criteria to meet. 10 acres, I mean, you've got to have, to make any money, you've got to have 100 acres to give up 10.
Well, yeah, and that goes right along with, you go find 10, and 10 acres with water in Lake Creek.
No, but if you've got to,
you better be pretty.
but if you've got a 30-acre piece up there, and I want to do the 1 to 3 or whatever, that I can't. It will not. It won't qualify. It wouldn't qualify to get that down to 1 to 1.
And I think
That's the challenge.
That's what we're trying to get to.
That's the
It
challenge.
had to be a large tract of land before it even qualifies.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was sitting here going 10 acres is a lot, but it really isn't for a park, or a regional park, so.
If you want.
All right.
So when do you want this back?
Tomorrow.
That was, we've had some good discussion, so any other discussion on this?
Yeah, we'll have more discussion after this, and then you'll be ready to talk about it again.
Well, do you want this on for first meeting in November, or?
Well, I think, is this something that you want to get a kind of an answer to, what the criteria might be?
It would be worth vetting out because the master plan on the rest of this project really, well, if a park is something we mutually want to work towards, I know we're not being required to do this, but if this is a good site, if it makes sense in the general public, then I need to know that so we can work up our master plan accordingly.
Okay.
So whenever you think you can come with something we can look at that's not subjective, but that helps him understand
Let's
where
set a
we
date.
are.
No, the first meeting in November, I'll
Yeah.
have something for you. All right.
That gives you 3 weeks,
Yeah.
something like that? Okay, thank you.
In the meantime, they need to know the water board agenda, Steve, I would assume.
Give Teresa a call.
Well, and I would come to the water board once I kind of know which way we're
Yeah, it's
heading.
kind of,
So it's
you're
a
kind of waiting to see.
chicken and the egg kind of scenario. But yes, we went.
Why don't you figure it both ways?
Yeah.
That's the best thing for you to do.
That's kind of what I thought.
That's easy to do.
Okay, that's the last item on our agenda except for board reports. If you guys want to, we'll start with you, Mr. Park. You got anything? Okay. And Mr. Fisher section.
Don't have the words from yesterday, so we'll do a lot of stuff that way.
Mr. Farrell.
Last night after we got done with fire board, Mark and I met with Senator Taxpayers, Representative Quinn had to leave, but I talked to Senator Van Tassel about this urban farm bill that we talked about last year. He's ready to run it. And he was going to have his assistant look at it and put it together.
Remind us what it is.
It's where we allow a lower tax rate on parcels between 2 acres and 4.99 acres in size. That is larger than a residential lot, open land, larger than residential lot, but still doesn't qualify for the farmland assessment. So it gives them a lower tax rate as long as they're using it for agriculture.
So it encourages them, they can't go on Greenbelt because it's
They
all
can't go on
Greenbelt,
Greenbelt,
but it encourages them to keep it farming.
Yeah. The incentive to keep it in agricultural production and open versus if you're in a 1 acre zone, it might make more sense to do 4 more 1 acre or 3 more, whatever.
Yeah.
And what it is really is a tax deferral because they can go from, if they break it up and sell it, then they have to go back.
Pay the roll.
Five
It's like
or
they
7
do
years.
with the rollback on
Yes.
Greenbelt.
Yeah, I think that, when we talked about before, I think everybody was.
Okay, so we're on the right track then. Now this will make a slight tax shift to some of the improved properties. But I don't think it's large enough.
There's not enough pieces to make a big.
No, but it may encourage more open space.
So is he's introduced in the Senate and,
He'll get somebody to run it with him.
okay. Will it be, what's his name?
What's Quinn
Powell.
say?
What's his name?
Quinn, he left, he had to go before we got to this. We were talking about
I think anything
we were
that,
talking about the issue with the railroad bridge, and I'll let Mark bring that up.
He didn't say anything, he had talked to Quinn about it prior to that, but give any feedback from what he had.
He says it's no, he don't think it'd be a big issue. They could just add Wasatch County onto the already approved list for urban farming. Right now, it's limited to first-class counties. They said if we just add it, first-class or always wanting, requesting it, it's under
I
that.
think it's really good, and it fits right in with our vision, mission. and
it encourages to try and keep agriculture open. I agree, anybody that looks at that is going to be in support, you would think, so.
So I told him to go ahead and get a person working on it, and in the meantime, we're going to meet with the Farm Bureau and get them on board with it as well. So we got some support.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Crittenden?
Nothing there.
So just one thing real quick that Steve mentioned. A proposed trail from Vivian Park to Deer Creek Dam, part of which is in Wasatch County, has been funded, and it's a kind of a complicated description of how it's funded, but it's been funded by Utah County, MAG, and UDOT, basically.
Like $3 million, isn't it?
4.5. Yeah, and it is scheduled to go in 2019. It does not include it includes a pedestrian bridge somewhere right around Wildwood, where there is also an old timber railroad bridge. And all of those parties that I just mentioned have come to the railroad and said, we need to raise $750,000 more than we have funded to make a combined railroad and pedestrian bridge there. Now, the existing railroad bridge is safe for the railroad. It's fine the way that it is, but it's very dangerous for the people who float on the river. And so all parties want a new bridge, but no one wants to pay for it.
They want a free span.
They want a free span bridge, and it would be a single bridge with the trail on this side and the railroad, right next to it. And so UDOT and MAG and others have, with my railroad hat on, have asked me to pursue that. So we talked with Senator Van Tassel about that and tried to get him thinking with us, exploring ways that that could possibly be funded. So, no conclusions.
So, think about it.
So think about it.
All right. The only thing I had was we all received a water from Joanne and Jean from the Central Utah. The board members there are both mine and Mr. Davis's chair or seats will be up. This is for the board on the CUP. We'll want to think about that. In the past, there's been two from Wasatch County, Summit. I think I serve on, in the seat at Summit. Mike has served multiple terms. We'll want to think about that.
How long is the term?
They're 4 years. I'm interested in doing one more, but I don't know if you read that, through that, and I don't know what Mike's feelings are, but it's up to you guys. I know Steve's had interest. Steve had interest in the past and has been on the water boards too, so think about that, and we'll put it on an agenda so we can talk about it and make those appointments. They'll want to, or at least make the list. It goes to the governor and then has to be approved by the Senate, so. Anyway, that's all.
Maybe touch on this letter from Francis City.
Oh, yeah.
On their annexation plan. Is that coming in Wasatch County?
I just seen that and hadn't even read it, to be honest with you. It was just in our boxes, so I hadn't even looked at it. I seen it earlier and hadn't looked at it, so.
I can't tell by the map if that's...
Let's have,
Isn't the creek,
The river's the boundary.
the river is the boundary, and I thought that was that brown, and Green was actually taking it out of it. I said, because it says there at the bottom, Green line indicates a possible amendment.
Yeah, but look where the red is.
I know, it was red, their previous one?
October 26th is their hearing on that. I can't tell. Canvas City Hall.
Well, this says
Possibly reduce the
is to
Kansas City.
review and possibly reduce.
Yeah.
So they're going the other direction.
Yeah.
Yep, says they're gonna reduce it, so
And
that's
I think
right.
they're taking it out of our county.
Yeah, I think they are.
Kendall wants to give a copy of this to Heber City.
Give them an idea.
All right, any other?
I'm sorry,
Well,
it's just their
now,
zone.
maybe you want to check with the state park, because that could affect their Rockport sewer system.
Well, I didn't think of that. Do we want to bring it up in, we won't have another public lands before the October meeting. You want to get hold of Lori, or should one of us try and get hold of Lori? It's reducing it, yeah.
And I don't know if it would continue to provide sewer service.
Maybe I'll call the Francis City planner tomorrow too and see if she can give me the Reader's Digest version and see what she's doing, what their plan is exactly, and then I can report back next week.
So from this map, what's happened?
I'll call her. Okay. Anything else? If not, we'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made. Second.
And a second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. You want to stay here, stay